you are. It's nice to see you all joining us. Maria is here with us, Saeed, Manuel. Talia, how are you? I haven't talked to you. And we're all gathered here to discuss and launch our platform for Data for WASH. And I guess I'm going to introduce Saeed when he gets here. He's going to start introducing everybody. Basically, everybody knows that we're launching this project in order to gather some data and promote clean water, safe water, where it's needed in different communities around the world. We've started in Nigeria, collecting a little bit of data in order to get governments to take some part in communities taking part in providing clean, safe water for the communities that they're responsible for. The purpose of this is to locate areas that are in need of some help for getting clean water and providing sanitation stations and making water more accessible. So I will introduce Saeed so that he can take over and let us know exactly who's here, and then we'll go from there. Saeed, welcome.
Thank you very much, Rob. Thanks indeed for introducing me. Great to see Talia Fried from Global Citizen. She's been one of our partners, and together we've been very impressed with the work we've been doing. Hello, Talia. How are you? And I see Emmanuel.
Well, thank you.
Yes, Jay. Nice meeting you. Good afternoon.
Awesome. I see Emmanuel since for like 2 years now. They've been one of our partners here in Nigeria, and we've also been in contact with their global office, and it's really impressive the work they are doing, and we cannot wait to hear so much about all that. Hello, Emmanuel. Thanks for joining.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. So, Rob, I can go on to share my screen.
Yeah, you can share. That's right. You can share your screen, and then Maria, she's being the conductor, and so she'll add you in. Are you able to share your screen?
Right.
Is it there? You have it? Have you shared your screen yet? There's a delay. Hello? We have a quiet spot here. What's going on? Saeed, have you shared your screen? Me? Hi. Okay. So I think there's some technical difficulties on Saeed's end. So how about if Talia, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your program, your organization, and
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Talia Fareed. I'm Director of Global Policy and Government Affairs at Global Citizen, and we've been so proud to partner with Media for Community Change for a couple of years now. We're huge fans of their work, and we're so happy to be here. Just to give you a brief introduction into Global Citizen, we're a movement of engaged citizens who are using their collective voices to end extreme poverty by 2030. On the Global Citizen platform, Global Citizens learn about systemic causes of extreme poverty, take action on those issues, and earn rewards for their actions as all part of a global community committed to lasting change. So since 2011, millions of global citizens around the world have taken over 24 million actions where they're urging world leaders, and that's from the public and private sector, federal governments, subnational governments, to end extreme poverty by 2030. To date, those actions by our global community, along with our high-level advocacy efforts with our partners like Media for Community Change, have resulted in commitments and policy announcements from world leaders valued at over $48 billion that have impacted more than 880 million people by 2030. So that's a brief overview of what Global Citizen does. I have historically worked on our clean water, sanitation, and hygiene campaign as our global lead. I also now lead our education campaign and our sustainability and environment campaigning.
Saeed, welcome back. How are you?
Yeah,
are you there?
Great. Yeah, sometimes technology could just mess around with you. But I caught up with Talia, giving an update about what she's doing with Global Citizen, and with so much experience in the wash sector before moving on. So I can just go back to sharing my screen. Please let me know when it's up.
Okay. Okay, once you share your screen, then Maria will add you in.
Okay.
Which I think you have there. You also have the data for wash site.
Okay, yes.
And are we we're gonna hear from Emmanuel a little bit?
So good afternoon, everyone. It's really great to be here. My name is Emmanuel Yokumbo, and I'm the Planning, Monitoring, and Evaluation Manager at WaterAid Nigeria. So WaterAid Nigeria is an international non-governmental organization with operational headquarters in London. So we have a country office here where we support the federal government and other partners like the civil society organizations, the media, and local partners in delivering improved access to water, sanitation, and hygiene. So we've been in existence for the past 23 years in Nigeria, and we've done tremendous works here in trying to see how we can improve wash governance in Nigeria. So probably during the course of the discussion at plenary, you'll get to hear more of what we've accomplished as an organization. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And I see Olamide. Is it Lumide? Ulimide? Pronounce your name for me. I'm not familiar with these.
Yeah.
With I'm more comfortable with Jane and Mary and Robert and so.
Thank you very much. My name is Olumide Idowu. Olumide. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
thanks to everyone for giving me this opportunity to also share from what AIC stands for. So I'm representing African Youth Initiative on Climate Change, which is an umbrella youth network of Africa-based youth organization with university groups, rural youth groups, community-based youth association, and like-minded individuals who are committed to fight against climate change and biodiversity loss. So we are in different countries across Africa. For now, we are like in 42 countries. And the initiative was conceived in 2006. That was in Nairobi, Kenya, during the second International Conference of Youth, which preceded the UNFCCC COP12. And the main reason for it, for the founding, was to ensure the inclusion and active participation of youth voices from the global south, so that we can have our own voices as well when we are talking about issue on climate change and related matters. And specifically, we are focusing on Africa. That is why it's called African Youth Initiative on Climate Change. And this is needed as the young people in Africa are almost half of the population and the most affected by climate change impact, as well as the most potential to support Africa to achieve on climate action. So we also touch a lot on WASH, and which we have some of our country chapters that are working on that kind of projects. And we are very happy that we're called upon to be part of this conversation and to see how we can intensify and increase more on grand action, not only online conversation, but to see how we can implement programs that are focusing on water, sanitation, and hygiene. So we are very grateful, happy to be here today. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you. Okay, so Saeed, maybe we should turn it over to you. You can carry on with your questions to the speakers.
I was wondering if Jimo Oluwatobisegun has introduced himself. I see he's also in here.
Is Jamo in? Or
all right.
There he is.
Morning, afternoon, good evening to everyone watching us from different parts of the world. My name is Jimo Oluwatobisegun, and I'm the Executive Director at Media for Community Change Initiative. And together with our partners, we are glad to be putting this together in line with our works in WASH. Basically, what we do at Media for Community Change Initiative is that we use the media to amplify the voices of people at the grassroots and leverage on partnerships with organizations like Global Citizen, BLI Global, Water Aid, AYICC, and other organizations that are doing fantastically well to provide a sustainable solution to blooming challenges in different communities where we work in. For the past few years, we've been privileged to work on different projects, of which what we work mostly on is water, sanitation, and hygiene, which is WASH. And fast forward to with most of our past experiences with what we see at the grassroots level, we realize that there are a lot of communities that are not on the map, that you can barely hear their voices, you understand, of which our goal is to amplify the voices of people that are in far to reach areas, people that are in far to reach communities and locations. That is what brings about this project. So I'm so glad to be here today, and happy to have our partners on board as well. So I'm pretty sure that this launch will be a great one. Thank you.
Okay. So let's hear from Emmanuel, if we can, a little insight into WaterAid's work in the WASH sector and why it's valid in this trying time. We're expecting one more speaker who's not quite yet in. So let's move on to Emmanuel and see if we can address those concerns.
Okay, thank you very much, Rob. It's really great speaking on this platform. So just like I earlier on started by saying we have been in Nigeria for the past 23 years. Our vision really is to reach everyone everywhere with water, sanitation, and hygiene services by 2030. So as an organization, we are implementing an influence-led strategy that aims basically to reduce sector blockages through efficient institutions and then empowering citizens to demand for their rights and also participate in WASH decision making. And then working collaboratively and with partnerships in government and other key actors, including the media, the civil society organizations, and of course the local groups. So the key thing for us is we believe that increased access to sustained WASH services in Nigeria can only be achieved when government institutions are strengthened and they are well coordinated, where all partners are coming together on the drawing boards to set up a plan and a roadmap to ensuring that WASH governance is improved in the country. So aside that, we know that in Nigeria, based on the report that the National Outcome Routine Mapping of last year that was conducted, we could see some very disturbing statistics, though not shocking, because globally, we know that every country is in one sort of wash crisis or the other. So we could see that in Nigeria, as at last year, the access to water supply stood at 67.9%, coverage, sanitation 41.5%, hygiene 21.2%. And then when you now look at it at the whole maximum of a composite level, we're not even up to average in terms of the percentage where you're talking about comprehensive or integrated water sanitation and hygiene. This is quite disturbing because you can agree that one of these services is not independent of the other, they go together. And the more reason why we should, deliver an integrated approach to having water sanitation and hygiene all encompassing. Yes, because of our population, we know that COVID, COVID-19 has come now, and we are not really well equipped as a country to manage the devastating impact of COVID transmission. And we are all aware that hand washing with soap and water is really the first line of defense against transmission. But sadly, you can see that more than 60 million Nigerians do not have access to clean water. And then you see a population more than 85% not even having access to basic hand washing facilities. So, to implement this SDG 6 that ties around water, sanitation, and hygiene, it requires a multi-sectoral perspective where you are bringing all the actors together, not just wash actors, but also actors from education, from environment, from information, orientation, and all the folks together to see how all of these plans will be addressed. And this can only happen when there is a strong collaboration and partnership with development partners, civil society organization, and of course the organized private sector that have a lot of things to offer in support to what governments and other initiatives have put together. So of course, everything goes back again to government taking the leadership by providing enabling policy environments with adequate budgetary allocations, with those release of the budget, and of course utilization and tracking on wash expenditure. For us as an organization, we've done so much since we started work in Nigeria 23 years ago. But of course, I won't want to go back to the rhetorics of telling us all the nitty gritties. But I mean, looking at the strategy we're implementing, we are implementing an influence led strategy. So, what that means for us is we are modeling water sanitation and hygiene services to showcase to government and influence government by way of advocating to them to also scale up these models in order to increase access to wash. So by doing this, we could see that the federal government has also reciprocated this, realizing that there is wash crisis in Nigeria. So key milestones have really been attained in Nigeria at the moment. There is a declaration of state of emergency in WASH as we speak. The president, His Excellency, made this declaration a couple of years ago to declare a state of emergency in WASH. So that also led to the launch of a Clean Nigeria Use a Toilet campaign, because it became so obvious that Nigeria as a country became the topmost on the list globally of countries that defecate in the open. So there was a call and concern as a public health issue to have this campaign to ending open defecation. So this has led the government, through the support of partners like us and others, to developing a roadmap for ending open defecation by 2025. So to this, there is a national action plan to revitalize the wash sector, which is really a framework for us that is guiding all wash actors in Nigeria. So this framework has different aspects of wash implementation, from financing, from monitoring, from sustainability, from sector strengthening. So it's a framework that provides a platform where partners are able to implement effectively what is required of them in line with the roadmap that has been stated. It is also exciting to note that as a part of demonstration of this political will from government, There is a basket fund now in country called the National Wash Fund. Though there are criteria the government has set for state governments to attract these funds, we have the responsibility through what we're doing in some of our states to preparing them towards accessing this wash fund. So we currently are working in 6 states in Nigeria, and I'm going to be telling us some accomplishments or progress we've made so far in each of these states. So Bauchi State is one of the states in northern Nigeria. So through these efforts and collaborations, we're able to support the state government in developing a plan, and they've also made a declaration on state of emergency.
Oops. There's a delay.
In WASH. So through our intervention as well, we were able to also support them in launching the Clean Family, Happy Family Hygiene Behavior Change campaign. This campaign is really contributing to the national Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign to promote hygiene behavior change for community members at local level and at state level, to also see how they can take on hygiene practices as well as support them and open defecation. The National Action Plan and the Clean Nigeria Campaign Secretariat also were part of the process that supported the development of the roadmap in ending open defecation. So with this, you can see that. Hello, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, go on. Please.
Oh, sorry. Okay, all right, thank you. So with this, you can see that in Bauchi State alone, we have piloted models that government has adopted. So one key thing that struck out for us was harmonization of institutional toilets. So there was a need for all the toilets in institutions, in healthcare facilities, and in schools and public places to be harmonized. And then, owing to the fact that we brought an inclusive design where persons with disability, women and girls could use this kind of toilets, we facilitated the discussion, and we're glad to have that the government of Bauchi State has adopted these designs and have started implementing that. So it's quite good step for us towards making government take ownership. We've not left the aspect of private sector out, because part of what we have done on different projects is to engage sanitation entrepreneurs through an approach to call market-based approach or sanitation marketing. So we've identified businesses, they've been empowered and trained to really bring up toilet options, so that when communities are facilitated through the process of CLTS, they are complemented through the aspect of providing toilet options where they can also look at the affordable kind of toilet and also have it in their household, all with a view to ending open defecation. In Enugu State, one key thing is we've supported the government in developing a framework for addressing fecal sludge management. So these are really discussions that are ongoing at the national level to see how we'll take the aspect of fecal sludge management forward, especially sanitation in urban settings. So discussions are ongoing, and of course, as an organization, we have commissioned studies in 3 states of the country to really look at the impact of fecal sludge management and what gap exists in the management and its implementation. So that has happened in Enugu State. And then in Plateau State, they've also done the declaration of the state of emergency. They have their own action plan to localize at that state and local level. And the civil society organization and media partners are actively engaging government in WASH governance, all with a view to holding them accountable in also improving WASH governance. So coming back again at the national level, you could see that we are working in collaboration with so many actors, and that is one of the pillars of our strategy, where we have the Federal Ministry of Environment. So there is a sanitation policy that was in existence before, but with the emerging issues, we have collaboratively worked together to reviewing that policy to align with the principles of the National Action Plan, which is what the country is really using as a roadmap to reaching everyone everywhere by 2030. So currently, we are collaborating with World Bank and the Ministry of Water Resources to organize state webinars for improved district-wide inclusive sanitation. So the focus is really on sanitation with a view to strengthening open defecation campaign that the federal government has launched. So we do this collaboratively, and we're also in talks with the Ministry of Women Affairs, of Water Resources, and modeling inclusive facilities and safely managed sanitation processes in peri-urban communities. So the approaches here is that the sanitation approach in rural areas or rural settings might not really be applicable or suitable in peri-urban and urban areas. So it has to be context specific. So we are in talks now with the ministry to see how we can contextualize all of these models and come up with a harmonized model where government takes this to scale at the national, state, and local levels. And we did so great with electoral advocacy campaigns. We started these campaigns during the election periods where we tagged it Vote for Wash. People who were vying for political offices were made to sign a pledge. So they made pledges that if they are voted into office, they would, prioritize WASH and also give attention to WASH. So after the post-election, we also commissioned another campaign called the Keep Your Promises campaign. So the campaign is really to ensure that the campaign commitments to prioritize WASH that was signed by those political office holders are delivered. And we're achieving very great results across board. A state in Bauchi, for instance, will have like more than 13 parliamentarians, delivering WASH projects within their constituents as part of their constituency project. So this is a fallout from the Keep Your Promises campaign. And the urban sanitation contextual analysis study has been commissioned already in cities of Kano, Warri, and Enugu, just to have a contextual understanding about urban sanitation to help us, just like I earlier said, build up a framework around fecal sludge management and more specifically around urban sanitation. So dissemination workshops have been held across board with Ministry of Water Resources and Environment, participating to supporting them in developing a national framework for fecal sludge management in Nigeria. So we are supporting this process until the pandemic came in, that everything had to be halted. So plans are still underway for us to continue. So looking at finding ourselves within the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are a WASH-focused organization, and hygiene, of course, is our entry point based on our hygiene behavior framework. So we looked at the COVID pandemic as an opportunity to also support government to take hygiene messaging to scale. So we have supported government at the state and national levels to develop hygiene behavior change messages from learnings to also stimulate behavior change, especially along the key hygiene behaviors that were recommended by WHO in addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have gone ahead to also provide hand washing facilities in public places, in healthcare facilities, all with the view to helping the population, the citizens, take action and also make them the effect of hygiene promotion. So we are stemming our communication and media resourcing very seriously and converting all of those messages into local languages, all with the view to raising awareness and educating people and promoting hygiene practices. So we feel these are just the key ways we can do to also support the government initiatives in ending the pandemic. So We are glad to also announce that we're part of the Wash Sector COVID-19 Response Coordination Platform that is domiciled in the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. So we are part of that, and we're also using that platform to equally influence government to make budgetary allocations available for wash access across board, not just the pandemic on a short term, but on a long term plan for adequate water, sanitation, and hygiene services for the entire population. So I would conclude by saying there is really need for us to continue the synergy and strengthen collaboration with all sector actors, you know, the private sector, the civil society organizations, the media, and every other person to see that all the aspects of the National Action Plan towards revitalizing water sector in Nigeria, you know, is effectively delivered. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that. You have given us a lot of information. It sounds like you have a huge project that you're involved in, coordinating many things, many aspects to try to give Nigeria clean water, safe water. We have our own here in the U.S. We have our own water issues, not as widespread as yours, and the different things that we have to deal with. We basically have a countrywide water and sewer system that's driven by each individual state. But there are rural areas that still lack some clean and safe water. And then once the industrial things get involved, then you have pollution, groundwater pollution. You have chemicals in the ground which seep into the rivers, which we get our water from. There's river pollution and that sort of thing. So we still even in the U.S. we have our own issues for clean water, safe water, drinking water that's contaminated, or that sort of thing. And we're certainly glad to be part of trying to collect some data to supply you and the Nigerian government to identify other areas or some areas that are in need of some work, and hopefully we can carry it on to accomplish something together with a collaborative effort. I'm wondering if you are involved mostly with the country government of Nigeria, or do you also get down into involved with the individual states or communities dealing with different types of regulations or restrictions that each government has that you have to find your way around?
Oh yeah, so back in country, yes, there are regulations concerning a lot of things, but I think the aspect of working with the government has really paved way for us, because we are actually presenting evidence-based information with regards to the gaps that have been identified, all the bottlenecks. So it is more or less like government, you know, sitting with us at the discussion table to say, okay, how do we go about, you know, regulating this aspect? How do we go about, you know, removing this kind of bottlenecks? So back to the aspect of water quality, it is really something that is of great concern, especially linking it with, you know, high prevalence of open defecation, and realizing the fact that we also have a very good percentage of surface water in Nigeria that is washed away, and then this percolates to really, you know, contaminate water. So discussions are on, and the Federal Ministry of Water Resources is working in collaboration with us and other partners to see how we can come up with a national guideline for, you know, water quality. There is already a standard for, you know, drinking water quality already, but I mean, with emerging trends, we really want to see how we can monitor the quality of groundwater resource and also empower communities to take surveillance in terms of water quality. So we are not just restricted to community level or state level, but as an INGO, for instance, we engage at the federal level and at the state level, and then with our partners at the local level and communities thereabout.
Great, great. Okay, so why don't we move on to Talia? And Talia, I have a note in here that we would like to know why it is important to do more in this trying time to engagement in the WASH sector.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. And also thank you, Emmanuel and WaterAid, for your, just wanted to commend you for your fantastic work. We've been so happy to be able to collaborate with WaterAid in the past too, and ongoing, and just wanted to give you a shout out for all the great work that you're doing. So yeah, I'll start out by giving just some background on what Global Citizen has done around WASH, particularly in Nigeria. So by way of context, we've been campaigning for WASH around the world since 2015. We've had global campaigns, but Nigeria has been really a staple of our campaign since the beginning, given the magnitude of the challenges across the country, and our understanding of the importance of addressing WASH in Nigeria as it relates to our mission to end extreme poverty by 2030 and support the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. So since 2015, we have been campaigning. We've started working very closely from the get-go with the Water Supply and Sanitation Collaborative Council, which is an incredible organization doing great work across Nigeria, especially on ODF and community-led total sanitation and behavior change. And they've been really, crucial in our initial work on also, really focusing on sanitation and hygiene within the broader WASH sector, understanding that is really the crux of the issue, that where we could really support to amplify voices and leverage our advocacy and campaigning model to support the incredible work of folks like WaterAid and others. So in 2015, we started campaigning. We were so thrilled that in 2016, at one of our events, former Environment Minister of Nigeria, Amina Mohammed, joined us at one of our festivals. So I'll pause really quickly just to provide everyone with some context into what our festivals are. So Global Citizen, of course, we do campaigning and advocacy, and we're very well known for our Global Citizen festivals, which we've taken all around the world. We have it, for example, in New York every year during the United Nations General Assembly, and it's a platform for we have artists and incredible ambassadors who care very much about the issues that we campaign on participating, but it is a platform for the announcement of new commitments towards the Sustainable Development Goals. So these are new commitments from the public and private sector to address the structural roots of extreme poverty, and of course, WASH is one of those. Global citizens can join the festival by taking action on the issues. When they take action through our platform by tweeting at a prime minister or sending letters to a president or calling their local member of Congress, they're able to earn points, which they can then redeem to enter to win free pair of tickets to the concert. So in the lead up to this 2016 festival, we had actions taken, and we were really looking at how we can mobilize around supporting the fantastic activists in Nigeria to support their aims to achieve ODF. So we were so thrilled to have Amina Mohammed at the time join us to announce a commitment to achieve open defecation free status by 2025. The next year, we had Minister Suleiman Adamu join us as a follow-up to commit to empower 5.5 million people by 2018 to achieve ODF. And these were incredibly exciting moments where we were able to have these leaders speak on stage about open defecation in front of tens of thousands of people, in front of celebrities, broadcasted worldwide, talking about these crucial issues. And we were really thrilled. And kind of moving beyond that, we knew our partners at WSSCC and the minister, said, this is incredible work that the federal government is doing, but we really need to engage the states who are incredibly powerful across Nigeria to really embrace ODF as well. So we started working with WSSCC and partners like Media for Community Change, partners like WaterAid, to identify some key states that we could start to engage. calling on them to commit specific funding and commit specific policies to achieve ODF by 2025 or sooner, and ensure that the right mechanisms were in place, that we felt confident that these commitments could be delivered upon. So around 2018, we also had a massive festival in South Africa to commemorate the centenary of Nelson Mandela. The festival was called Global Citizen Festival Mandela 100. It was our first festival on the African continent, and we had incredible artists participating. We had massive participation across the continent as well, including from Nigerian global citizens. And we saw it as a really great opportunity to continue our campaign to secure commitments from state governors for ODF and WASH. So we worked with our partners across the country, and of course in specific states like in Benue, Ondo, Cross River, to make sure that we were asking for the right things and we were supporting their work. And we started leveraging our advocacy model. So we had global citizens taking action. We had Nigerian celebrities lending their voices to the campaign. And we, had a really massive response, which was really exciting. In addition to, our high-level advocacy model, where we were able to work with partners to have meetings with some governors across states, in which activists were able to, lend their voices about why this issue was so crucial to address across the country. So, and in those specific states. So, through this campaigning, which lasted quite a number, quite throughout the year, we were so thrilled to then have Cross River State join us at Global Citizen Festival Mandela 100 to commit $15 million over 5 years for ODF. We, once again, we're so thrilled to have the issue covered on such a global scale for viewers to see. But we also knew that we had a lot more work to do. So we continued to campaign with our partners, again, like WaterAid, like Media for Community Change, like UNICEF, to continue to engage local governments. And that really led into World Water Day in 2019, in which we hosted an event in Abuja with partners. And we were also so happy to have the support of Uzo Aduba, who you might know from the show Orange is the New Black and is Nigerian, who cares very much about this issue as well, to support the campaign. So she joined us, and we hosted an event in Nigeria where we were able to have, of course, Cross River join us again to provide an accountability update on their commitment, but also we had Edo and Ondo states participate. And again, like a huge thank you to all the partners that helped us, with this event and bring along the governments to that event. We also had Bayelsa in the audience, and Ondo and Edo actually on stage started a small friendly competition between the two states about who would achieve ODF first. Cross River and Ondo. While that was a really important event to engage the governments, we continued the campaigning with our partners, global citizens kept taking action. We kept working with our partners to assess what was the best way to engage the governments and seek new commitments for ODF in their states. And we were then had an event in Germany where we had Ondo and Edo commit $15 to over $24 million each for ODF, and of course working with them on what does that mean, what are the plans, and working with partners to make sure that those are plans that our partners felt confident about. And then moving beyond that, we continued campaigning for our event in New York last year, where we had Lagos commit over $100 million for WASH and ODF. And then we also had Plateau State commit over $76 million for ODF. Again, providing plans and working with them. So, this has been an incredible partnership with a number of organizations to carry out this campaign. We know there's a lot more work to be done, including continuing our accountability process where Global Citizen speaks to, stays in communication with the commitment makers, with our partners to, to really monitor the status of the commitments. Have they been delivered upon? Are they being delivered upon? Or do we need to re-engage to ensure that promises are fulfilled? once again, we can use our advocacy model to carry out accountability campaigns as we need to. So that's a brief overview. We feel so privileged to be able to work with the incredible activists across the country to really support their work. And we look forward to continuing to having the opportunity to do so. I just wanted to emphasize that, of course, with COVID and with COVID-19 and the pandemic, WASH has always been so crucial, but this is just another example of why behavior change and providing the resources for quality and holistic WASH, from, of course, infrastructure to information and behavior change to waste management, and having the whole system in place is so crucial. So we look forward to continuing to work with our partners on that. And of course, data is always so important, and we're so excited about this initiative from Media for Community Change. It's data is a tool that we use in our campaigning so much, and having this resource that Media for Community Change is working on is I think going to play an enormous role in moving the movement forward. Over to you, and happy to answer any questions.
First question is, when's the next concert?
Yeah, it's a good question. So of course, because of the pandemic, we've been hosting a number of virtual events this year. Our first was called Together at Home, around COVID-19 response and relief, and of course, focusing on vaccines and therapeutics for the pandemic, but also looking at the issue holistically and understanding that areas like WASH are crucial to addressing the challenge. And we also had an event called Global Goal Unite at the end of June that mobilized more billions of dollars for COVID-19 response and relief.
With your organization or what you've been doing, it sounds like you're into advocating and marketing and awareness and education of these issues and trying to get information disseminated. And it sounds like you're able to get a lot of funding together. And I'm wondering where I mean, you mentioned being accountable. Where's all the money going that you're collecting? Is it going into sanitation systems? Is it going into pumping clean water, safe water? Is it going into work with the governments and marketing and advertising? And so help us understand that, all these dollars.
Yeah, it's a good question as well. So we work with partners to ensure that the commitments that we do secure are going to benefit people living in poverty. So, for example, we work closely with the Water Supply and Sanitation Collaborative Council to not only ensure that, and they're incredible partners on the ground in Nigeria, like United Purpose Nigeria, to assess, are these strong commitments, and also help our partners like, Water Sanitation Collaborative Council or Sanitation and Hygiene Fund to mobilize resources for their work. So we do a lot of resource mobilization for organizations and initiatives that are crucial to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And then we also work with them when there are commitments from the government. So a lot, for example, when Plateau made their commitment, they provided a roadmap around what does this look like in terms of implementation, how many, which partners will we be working with? And I believe WaterAid and UNICEF are a couple of those partners around, behavior change initiative and infrastructure for ODF, and really making sure that there's tangible results for people through these commitments.
Okay, thank you very much for that response. That's great. Does anybody have any questions for Talia? In the meantime, Sae, if you want to take over and you can introduce our next couple of guests, and we'll carry on.
Yes, Thank you very much, Rob, and thanks a lot, Talia, for those very deep insights about what the great work that Global Citizen is doing, especially in these trying times. The next speaker is Olumide Idowu. He is one of the very respected young actors here in Nigeria, and for over 10 years, he's been working with young people, especially in the area of communication. So it's really a privilege to have Olumide with us. And I know he's currently serving as, I think, the communication head for the African Youth Initiative on Climate Change, a coalition of over 3,000 young active people within the African continent. So Olumide, we want to know from you, how have African youths been working to feed into the WASH sector? Particularly, we want you to share with us how young people could be pillars that could be that could feed into data for development.
Okay, thank you very much, Shay. Thanks to Talia, thanks to Mr. Manuel, thanks to Robert and everybody. First and foremost, let me first of all say something about water aid. I think a couple of years back, I was on the I was trained by water aid on communication in Benue State. Like I've been doing that training years by years by years, and I can say that water aid is actually doing fantastic work. Kudos to you guys for making sure that all those policies don't just go under the carpet. It's something that is very, very important. And thanks to Global Citizen, I remember when the commitment was going on. I think she was also there in New York then, when our governor, I'm in Lagos State, where our governor Sanwo-Olu was making commitment about the Global Citizen activity that's supposed to happen in Lagos State. So I think this is a very great move and is a call to action for every citizen, everybody that is working on issue of WASH, and I think it's a conversation that needs to be going on so that we can help more community to be safe. So let me first of all say that I will mention some country because I'm speaking on behalf of African Youth Initiative on Climate Change, where we are in almost 42 countries in Africa, and we are still looking forward to expand as well. So we have our chapter from Somalia that is working on WASH. They are one of their focus area for this year is to work on water sanitation and hygiene. And I remember when Mr. Emmanuel was talking, he mentioned something around sanitation, like key sanitation activity that needs to be going on. And one of the things they are doing in Somalia, and let me just call the country so I can just summarize their activities. And another thing I think young people need to be looking to as well. We have Somalia, we have Ghana, we have Zimbabwe, and we have Kenya. These countries are countries that during, I think last year, November, one of their focal area was to work on WASH. And what are they doing? Majorly because of the infrastructure, because of the funding, because, you know, before you do anything like infrastructure when it comes to WASH, you need funding, you know, building a sustainable toilet for all, putting in consideration of the vulnerable or the handicap and stuff like that, the physically challenged people. So what they are doing basically is to see how they can help the local community to actually understand and create awareness on the importance of WASH. And this has been something that I think young people are very powerful on when it comes to awareness and advocacy. But one of the major things that I think is necessary for young people again is that it is now high time for us to now start capturing that numbers, because as we're looking at data for WASH now, it's high time for us to start catching or grabbing those numbers of impact or numbers of activities that we are running or that we are doing in our local communities now, because that one will give us a basis to actually see numbers of activities or number of infected people that are, you know, around this water sanitation and hygiene. And one thing again is one of the strongest way that young people also is looking at, and we are also looking for, is to see how we can collaborate more with all these international organizations in our countries and also to see how we can help the government, especially the ministries, to implement a little bit of their strategy. Because one of the things that is happening now is that every of all these activities, if there's no young people part of it, you will not be able to capture the root causes of the issue when it comes to sanitation in the local community. Let me give you a very good example, because we also do some community conversation in Lagos, yeah, especially in a community called Shomolu. We're able to understand that a lot of things that cause open defecation is not about what you see, but about what the community tells you that they are facing. For instance, you see a car that is parked for more than 5 or 6 months. There's tendency that a lot of people can defecate beside those abandoned cars. And what we did was to now look at the local resources, as in the available resources, to now see how we can help them to identify those problems and provide solution through their own solution. Let me give you one of the fantastic solutions to open defecation in Shomolu. Most of them were asking us that if we can help tell the government to provide them a street light, like a solar, so that everybody can be able to see what is going on the streets. So if you are defecating somewhere, I will definitely know that you are defecating, and I will be able to report it to the right authority. Secondly, they are calling for all abandoned cars in all the streets in the communities should be taken away, so that everybody can see what is going on in the community. And the last thing again is that how can we track those funds that is being given to the local communities, either from international organizations or rather from from the government down to the local government? How can we be able to know whether there's a certain amount of money that's been given to a community to build a proper toilet that can be used for everybody? So wash issue is like, it encompasses a lot of problem in a community, which young people are the center of helping most of all these organizations, most of all these international organizations, to actually identify the local problems, because we are the one that is closer to the local government. We are the one that is staying around this community. We are the one that sees what is going on. I can provide you an idea of what we see. And our report can build your data, can build your cases for you to now bridge the gap between the government and the local communities, or between the government and the young people. So across Africa, in Ghana, Green Impact International is also working on what we call a campaign to make sure that all what they are focusing on is to go after people that are defecating in communities. So it's just like a watchdog that they do. They recruited some community watchdogs that all what they do in the community is to make sure that anybody they see defecating around, they arrest the person, and there's a penalty for that. And this was being supported by the Ministry of Water Resources in Kenya and UNFPA, and which I think is something that is going to really add value to what young people are doing. And how to end my conversation, I also want to have a quick and urgent call that I remember Robert asked of where do the money goes to, all the money that have been collected, all the money that have been gathered through donation and stuff. I think it's high time and I'm so happy to hear the National Wash Fund that Mr. Emmanuel mentioned. This National Wash Fund specifically, I don't know if there's going to be, for me, I'm in Nigeria and I'm also interested in this. I also want to know how this fund is going to really get to the right community, because when you say a National Wash Fund and working with the State Ministry of Water Resources, is it going to be in partnership with other stakeholders to make sure that these funds get to be used for the right people? Secondly, it's also high time for the maybe global citizen and some funding partner to start looking at small grant programs for wash activities in local communities, so that they can be able to see how they can gather those solutions that young people are actually doing in different communities to add to their own success story when they are presenting to the global scene or presenting to any funding partner. So this is like a really of my
Hello, can anybody hear me? Okay. Alamundi, I guess he's got technical difficulties, internet problems. So I was gonna ask him a couple questions, but of course, he has some very good points about the youth of the world are very important in this and any endeavor. And the crux of the matter is that they are the ones that are really on the ground and that are a very viable manpower to get anything done, to get any data collected, to get any voices heard, because they are the mass and they're the ones that are going to be growing up and getting more involved in running these countries in some time. Of course, I remember I was a young one too at one time, and he voiced some good problems there with them running around and abandoning cars and defecating, that sort of. Not that I did that, but it's hard. It is hard to get them to stop doing it unless they are somehow, I don't know, rewarded or something. If there's something in it for them, then they're more likely to do it. And then, of course, that touches on the funding that Olamaru brought in. Is, does the funding that goes to the government actually get to the ground? Does it get to the youth to help them do what all these organizations and governments need them to do, which is to collect this data, report, and voice, and let everybody know what's actually going on there, rather than the people in government that are in high places that never visit these areas that are in need of stuff, telling everybody what needs to be done. So, Alamudi, I was just saying how valuable the young are and how much all the organizations and the government need to cooperate and collaborate with the young people, the youth of the world, to get the information disseminated and gathered, the data, to find out exactly what's going on on the ground, in the communities that they're in, so that the resources and the infrastructure can be delivered to them to help the communities that the government's supposed to be responsible for. And that ties into Data for WASH, because we want to try to utilize that force, those masses of youths, to gather some data, help us fill out the form so that we know more accurately where are the areas in which communities need clean water, need water delivered to the communities, need sanitation stations. So I'm glad you're here, and I was happy to hear you. Saeed, go right ahead. Carry on. Unfortunately, we are missing the professor. Of course, I don't know how to pronounce his name either. Who was going to give us a little bit of insight into the university. We had contacted the university to get some of the students there to help us collect some of the data. I don't know if Jamo, do you have any insight on this?
Yes, Professor Shitu is the HOD of the Department of Statistics at the University of Ibadan. He's trying to join the conversation, but he's having issues, technical issues. So I'm trying to get back to him on how to provide solutions. So hopefully he will join us before we complete this conversation. So I'm just trying to reply his videos back and forth, but he's trying to join. So we just have to proceed. We proceed pending the time that he join us. So, Shay, for me, please, on to the next part of agenda, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Sometimes this network could mess around. But yes, we have also been working with the University of Ibadan. It's a premier university in Nigeria, been existing since I think 1948, they're about like a long time ago. And they are one of the leading educational institution here in Nigeria. And so school students, particularly students from the Department of Statistics, to contribute to feeding firsthand into the platform. And so we're very excited about that. It's very sad, like Rob said, that we do not have Professor Shitu here with us. But nonetheless, we would go on. And this exactly is where we launch and demonstrate the Data for Wash portal, how it works, the interactivity, how to submit data as someone out there. And Robert and I will be doing this together. So I'll start by sharing my screen. Or Rob, do you want to share yours?
Yes, there's my screen there, and there's the website, which I have to say we owe a lot of gratitude to Maria, who spent hours and hours and hours developing this website. And she's done a heck of a job. So Data for Wash is a website which helps us to disseminate some information and bring some awareness to the community around the globe about clean water, sanitation, and why it's needed and how we can do it and what it will accomplish. Of course, we all know the problem in a lot of countries, a lot of areas. The access to clean water remains a challenge in low-income regions, underdeveloped communities, and I guess an estimated almost 2 billion people are without access to adequate sanitation, and that even exists here in the U.S. Unlike a lot of people's impression that it's not needed everywhere, but I have spent some time in Uganda, and I have run into some areas that I would definitely love to see a infrastructure developed to deliver clean water, and also that it's safe and get some hygiene going on. But anyway, one of the other main problems is that too many, I mean, 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 are too many children that are dying from the effects of unsafe water, where you're having bacteria and viruses spread and infecting people, and it's just unnecessary when the water is there and we have the technology to develop what's needed to provide them some safety. Another problem is that it's if there's water anywhere near a community, it's so far away that sometimes they spend all day, the women and the children spend all day walking with jerry cans to go get it out of pipes that are dirty, and you see the pools that are dirty and brown water, and you think, well, what are they doing? Well, they carry it back to their houses and have to boil it and sanitize it. And then even do they get all the bacteria out? We don't know. But not only that, while they're in the water, getting their water, they're swimming in the water. urinate in the water. There's bacteria there, so if they have a cut or a sore or a wound, the bacteria can infect their bodies, get into their system, and they can get sick that way. The other thing is that if they're spending all day tracking water, going to get water and bringing it back to their village, sometimes they're walking around early in the morning in the dark or late at night in the dark, and they run into unsavory characters and they're putting themselves at risk. So I guess one of the main things is that the women can get raped or beat or robbed, and the children can get taken or raped themselves. So there are a lot of concerns, and there are a lot of reasons to help get some clean water. Of course, all this supports the SDG goal number 6, which wants to bring clean, safe water closer to people so they're not walking around for miles and miles to get any water, whether it's clean or not, and they still have to lug it home and boil it. And then sanitation for women and girls and children, sanitation in general, to establish wash centers or have plumbing and toilets in their houses, and clean water with sinks to wash their faces and hands regularly so that they're not promoting diseases, viruses, they're not carrying bacteria around. A sustainable water supply. And, if they're dependent on little streams and brooks and rivers and there's no rain for a while, then they're out of water. I lived in Uganda for a few months at a time for a few years, and we ran out of water in the water tank because it hadn't rained for a while. So, or some little tube broke or something, but it's just not sustainable. So that's one of the reasons why you need a good infrastructure to develop a good water delivery system, a good sewer system. This can be done through global partnerships, and as both Talia and Emmanuel have described, with some collaboration with other organizations and private companies, we can provide some of these communities good systems where they can rely on good, safe, clean water and know that their sewage is not going to be just dumped into a nearby river or spread around on the ground that they're growing their vegetables in, or all that sort of thing. So, and then of course we have to promote every community, their own communities, to take ownership of these systems and to try to do these things and help and assist in some guidelines and help us get this stuff done easier rather than having to go through a bunch of red tape and regulations and that sort of thing. And not only that, but as Mudial, the funding, the getting the funding from the government down to where it goes. People can, even in the U.S., we hear about the money getting into government, and by the time it gets to the communities, it's not enough to do anything but, buy some jerry cans or something like that. So this is our website, and here's the purpose and some reasons, and everybody can click on it. www.data4wash, the number 4, data4wash.org, and that'll give you some more information. And so to go further, we're going to turn to Saeed, and he's going to explain the map, and I'll share mine, and we'll turn it over to Saeed. It's all yours, Saeed.
Yeah. Great. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Let me know if you can hear me, Rob. I'm not sure you can hear me, but I'm.
Yes, we can. I can hear you.
Great, thanks. So thanks a lot for that first take, Rob. And the website is pretty simple. So the website is pretty simple, and the homepage alone is instructive as to why this is very important. Now, the entire idea behind this is that we are leveraging technology, and in such a way that it is very interactive. And that's where the map section comes in. It is something that is very easy to interpret. Right now we're launching, and so that's why you can just see that we have integrated a few of the locals we call the blue zone. And the blue zone is basically for areas where they have water. So currently they have access to water and probably treatment facilities. So you can see by the left part, you can see the blue zone. And we have just one example there in the United States of America. Then we have the red zone. The red, on the other hand, is a complete contrast of the blue zone. And that's areas that have poor access to water or no access to safe water. And then we have some examples here. We have Zokutu community, which is one of the communities. When we get to the report, you'll still see that there's a little bit of information. But for now, this is just an introductory aspect into how the map works. So pretty much, as an individual, if you get to a community, it's very simple. There is a form which you get to fill, and then it pops the world. So you can see the map of the world, and depending on what you have put in, if it's a community where they have limited or no access to water and you put in the details brightly, after submitting, it is integrated on this map such that it can point directly to the area on the world map and show that, oh, this is a red spot and there's no water. People who are interested can then come in and say, hey, we want to do something in this location. We want to do something in that location. The yellow zone is in between the blue and red, more like an amber light when you have the traffic light. And it's basically a platform that says there is water here, but it's not the best. It could be improved upon. Not like there is no water, but of course it could be improved upon. So that's the that's why we have the yellow zone. So we have the red, the blue, and John. Once you click, we'll still show you how to submit, but then you can put in you're saying authenticity of, and that's exactly what the maps is just to show you the world map and show you different areas and the status of water in those locations. So the plan is that as we continue to, now that we've launched this virtually, we hope that many more people can see how it works, can now begin to submit their own information, and we can have more points on the map. So we can have more blue zones for places where there are water, more yellow zones for places where water status can be improved upon, and of course, more red zone for places that still have lack or no access to water. Pretty much that's what the map is, as simple as it is. You want to take it from there, and then or do I go on to the report straight up?
Yeah.
What's up?
Hello? Hello, sorry, we can't hear you.
You muted me again. Okay, I'm sorry. I was muted there for a minute. I don't know what you missed or what I was saying that you couldn't hear me, but anyway, I was going on about the icons on the map and how the pictures help tell the story a little bit better than just saying this community needs clean water or safe water. The pictures certainly show that there's water there, but it's dirty, and what the women and children have to go through to get the water from wherever they're getting the water from to wherever they need it, and the fact that it's carrying bacteria and germs and even back to the community into the family. So, but in order for us to develop a plan to fix that problem, we need data. We need to know where the areas are. And in order to do that, we need the people in the communities to go and get pictures and get the information and submit it to our map so that we can turn that over to the powers that be, the community organizers, the state governments, the country governments, and say, okay, here are the areas that need, and here's the proof, and here's the location, and this is what it needs, and help them to promote, or help them establish, or help them get data to support their government programs in order to deliver to the communities those services that are needed. It also helps, of course, the community organizations and the people on the ground to say, okay, this is what's needed in this town. Our data collection allows for us to know how far away from the community, the village that the water source is at, what it would take to bring the water, or what it does take to bring the water to the communities, how much time it can save the women and children, which will add to the quality of the family. If the women and children aren't walking miles and miles and hours to just to get a little bit of water to their home, how much time they can spend enjoying their family unit. So once the forms get out there, we can see we are entering data such as the where it is, what community, what state, what community is, and then there's more categories over here. You slide this over, it'll tell you a little bit more. A description of the area, what's going on, what it's all about. and what zone it should be in, and then with the longitude and latitudes, you get exactly where it is. So it's simple once the data gets in there. So what do you want to do? You want to go up. Why? View records. I'm getting. Okay, so once the data is accumulated, it gets directly into the map, and then we can share our reports. And the form is over here, which say we'll cover later. Okay, so then the reports come out. You can get to read the reports of what the communities, different zones, specific places, and that sort of thing. So I'm going to turn this back over to Saeed now, and he can carry on, and he'll have more specific information. Saeed, take it away. So you want to take it from here and go on with the reports and he's gone.
Okay. Shay, can you hear us? Okay, while you try to join back, I will deliver a message from the University of Ibadan. The professor is really having an issue with his internet connection and technical difficulties on his end, so that's why he's unable to join us. Even he has dropped a message on a private chat, so I will just deliver that. He said the efforts from their Department of Statistics. You know, I introduced him as the HOD of the Department of Statistics at the University of Ibadan. So their efforts were meant to actually to select 100 undergraduate and postgraduate students to help in gathering data from different communities in Nigeria, starting from Oyo State. But unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 and the school closure presently, they are unable to do that. Now that's why the information on the map is presently scanty. As you can see from what Sheifumi shared, you see we only have 3 to 4 or 5 communities there, 5 locations on the map, of which we aim to have much more than that before the launch. But then, due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the school is presently closed, they are unable to go on the field to go get more data about communities. And also, uh, they inform us that they intend to engage 200 and 300 level students in the Department of Statistics and every other thing like that. So basically, that's the information is shared. Others are questions and concerns personally directed to us, of which will definitely be handled. So basically, that's the message from the University of Ibadan, one of our partners on this project. So I will have to step aside now for Shay for me. Okay, I think he's off again. So let me take. Okay, I think he's coming back up. Shay for me. Maybe yeah. Okay, I think he's back. Shay for me, over to you, please. Probably you want to take the second section of the website.
Reports.
Oh, report. Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jim. Many thanks to you for that. Thank you. I hope you can hear me, Jimo. Yes, I hope you can hear me. Thank you so much.
Yes, we can. Yes,
so I'm just going to proceed to the report section of the report tab on the website. Yes. There we are. So pretty much the report is where you can now read extensively about a particular location. So if you want to read about all the blue zone icon right here under the report, and it shows you the list of the communities that are in the blue zones, then you can read to know their specifics. There you can see pictures, you can see videos, you can read other peculiar details about each of those communities, different from just saying report was integrated into the platform. And that's this community in the US. So pretty much all of this section will be filled with that. Now let's move to the red zone. On the map, you remember we had, I think, about 2 communities on the red zone. And so, well, way more than 2 communities. We had on Nigeria and we had on Kenya. But by the time you zoom in into Nigeria, you see we had about 3 different communities within Nigeria. So pretty much, this report section allows you to see each of the areas and to map out details about these areas. That's simply what the report section is all about. Yes, Rob, you can take it from there. Or maybe very quickly, now that my network is stable, I should just round off with the petition section, and then Rob can take it forward from there. Like Talia mentioned, the government is very important in all of this conversation. And you'll see that Emmanuel also stressed it while he was speaking, that they've been able to work with the government, they've been able to get the government to make commitments and to track what the government is doing, or sort of to do things in small scale and show the government examples of what can be scaled up. Now, as a young person, having worked intensively within the CSO landscape, and especially with young people with energy, I see that it is not common to have young people talk about the problem, but not doing anything. So this platform allows you to be able to go right in, put in your information or put in information about where you've sent the problem. But more than that, you can get other people to also validate what you've said or what you've put in. And that's why we integrated the change.org platform into the website, where you can easily start a petition. So once you click the start a petition icon here, it takes you to change.org, and there you can start a petition. But let's go back to the petition guideline. What we've also done here is we've researched on tips that makes a petition count, tips that makes your petition valid, sort of. And that's what we've clearly stated here. What are the things to communicate? How do you communicate it? How can you make your message clear enough and concise that people can be a part of? How do you get other people to be on board and to also join you in calling out other people to push out that message? And that's a very valid way to get the government to listen, or the local government leaders or people in different communities to say, hey, 1,000 people are talking about this situation. That means it's a problem that we must look into. So with this, we hope we can get more wash-related problems to be out there. And people who need to solve the problem know about it. People who are experiencing the problem can also put it out there in a valid way that people or the government or NGOs or international bodies can respond to. So pretty much that's what the petition feature of the platform is all about. So Rob, maybe you take it forward and round off. So.
Petition can show, even the petition can show, if you get started on a petition, starting a petition in your community, it'll let the community know that somebody's there doing something and they can be part of it. It's not only just a bunch of signatures that you want to submit to a government, but it's also a way to let the people know in the community that you're involved and that they can get involved, and it will give some credence to what's trying to be done, and it also could help to build a little bit of community pride and morale. So that's a good thing to do. Anyway, so we've had good discussion so far. We've learned quite a bit. We know everybody's looking to help communities get clean water and safe sanitation services. Now, this whole project did start with communication media, and a collaboration between them and us so that we could build a platform to collect data and help get some clean water in Nigeria to a specific community, which Jamal and Say have been a big part of, and trying to get the university involved and that sort of thing. So, so our goal was to get the data together in order to submit that to the government, to get them involved, and to have them have some accountability and take responsibility for the communities that need water. Now, our long-term idea is to also, once the data is collected and we get some collaboration from some other organizations and some private industries along with the government, that we can possibly build a water delivery system. Once we locate the source of the water, we can deliver a water delivery system to the communities, to the houses, to the villages in an area. That's a big project, and we also would like to. We're thinking about carrying a step further and hopefully building a water treatment system, which that's a long term, and that's a big project. To that's would involve putting bathrooms, toilets in all the homes in the community. Of course, we have to start out with a small one. We have to make sure we have some private corporations, industry, plumbing industry, construction industries involved to help us out, and build sanitation systems, water delivery systems, and then turning that over to the community, which would, of course, provide for employment for people in the community, that they have to maintain and run the sewage treatment plant. They have to run and maintain the water delivery system, the pumps, and that sort of thing, filters. And that's a big project, and that's down the road after, of course, we get all this all those data collected in the system and get some cooperation and show the need and that sort of thing. And I think that's about it. Down, she says. So that's why the data is important, and if anybody has the urge to support us with what other collaboration or what do I want to say? Collaboration organization, and of course we all need funding to help with the data collection for the students. Some small stipends to help provide transport and meals if they're out there collecting data in their villages and that sort of thing. Here in the States, the data is not so much, but in countries like Uganda and Nigeria and some areas, the cost of data, internet is a little bit high. So we're accepting donations, and I'm sorry if my speeches is not as smooth. There's a lot of speakers, but I'm getting there. If there's any questions, we would love to entertain your questions and try to answer any questions that you want. Put in the chat box or type into us, and we will address them. If there are any other further comments by any of the speakers, we invite you to speak up.
Okay, maybe I can go first. Thank you very much, Rob and team. This is quite wonderful and very useful. So just two quick feedback. Yes, the platform is a great platform for stimulating fundraising initiatives, as well as using it as a planning tool for WASH interventions. So I would really say a very big well done to your team, and also reiterate the fact that we would also need to expand this partnership and collaboration to look at very basic community management structures that are already in place. I know in country that because of the efforts that partners and government have made, there are community management structures that are really like the right holders to wash. So building on water sanitation hygiene committees, water consumer associations, and other community coalition groups, all of these are in existence. So they build a very good platform to interact with this tool and also send reports. It has been really challenging trying to build a feedback mechanism within the water sector to see how issues are properly and promptly addressed. But I see this as an opportunity to really support what the federal government is doing. There is a basic platform for mining data on an annual basis. So this is a very good opportunity to feed into what the national government is already doing. So I would really recommend maybe expanded collaboration to see how this can be taken forward. Lastly, on my point, I think it is also very good to maybe emphasize the aspect of sustainability here, because part of the things we have struggled with really is around planning for sustainability. So WaterAid as an organization has, as part of our own pilot study too, has supported government in adequate planning using the life cycle costing approach. So water facilities are mapped out through an inventory process, and then their life cycle determined. So through this, the government is able to adequately plan for maintenance, capital maintenance costs, operational maintenance costs. So this adequately goes into their budget preparations ahead of time. So the issue of facility breakdown is not that. So I see this as a very viable tool that can also be used on that particular platform, especially when these needs arise from the platform. Data and reports are generated, the government takes action as a result of all the issues. And of course, the good aspect that data on this platform is also georeferenced. So it's also good, but there has to be that synergy on where this end product goes. I would really leave this with a question by asking that when you fill this petition, where does it go to, and then how can this be addressed, by duty bearers? Does it mean that all the duty bearers that should be able to respond to WASH issues have access to the change.org platform, and then has that been tried out? Just a sort of clarity on that. Aside that, well done, team. Thank you.
Rob, can I come in? Thank you, Emmanuel. Do we have any other thoughts or comments so we can respond and then close?
Oh, if you can answer Emmanuel, that would be great. And we're waiting for any other comments or questions.
I can just jump in and just want to give you all a huge congratulations again. This is an incredible tool, the interactive opportunities and opportunities to leverage the information that's given to really take action, is really unique and special and very much needed. And I'm just so excited to see the impact that can be made from this very important tool. So just wanted to share my huge congratulations to you all.
Well, thank you, Talia. That was very nice. We appreciate the recognition and the appreciation for all the work that we've done, put into this all the time, and hours that Maria has put into this and Jamo and coordinating, and it's not easy doing all this over the internet, especially when sometimes the internet doesn't work. So, Saeed, would you address Emmanuel's question about the petition? Where does the petition go? How else can it be used? And how do we know it's going to where it needs to be going? And yes?
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. So pretty much to respond to Emmanuel's question, what happens when people, the way change.org works, it's like a very valid platform for that. And that's why we're going to work with, to integrate the change.org platform. It varies from country to country, the number of signatures as an organization, and then writes a formal letter to the person that petition has been addressed to. But on the other hand,
Okay, I guess Saeed's having some technical difficulties. Jamo, are you around? Are you in? So Emmanuel, I think we're going to have to get some responses from Saeed and Jamo in order to address that specific question. Um, but generally, I think the petition is basically for the purpose of using in the community. I don't know if it's submitted to us to get put into the database. If not, we will develop a place to know who is starting a petition and what the results are, so that there will be some accountability. What they've done with the petition, how many people have signed up to petition, what they're petitioning for, and who they're submitting the petition to, so that we can also disseminate that information to the same organizations. But in the meantime, we'll also try to get a more clearer explanation from Jamo, who worked with Change.com or organization more specifically. Jamo, you're here. Can you address the issue of the petition with Emmanuel? I don't know if you heard his question, or maybe Emmanuel can repeat the question.
Sure. Like to continue what Shapum is saying, change.org works in a way that it actually needs to get a signature. The concern you, the voice of let's say an issue you raised on the platform must have let's say 5,000 or 1,000 or so signatures before it could be taken up by change.org themselves, before reaching out to policymakers to do something to it, or probably reaching out to House of Assembly, House of Senate, and other policymakers, big arms in the government. You understand? So, but moving forward, the aim is to actually work with other partners. That is why partnership is very, very core in every other thing we do at Media for Community Change and every other organization we work with. For a start, we're leveraging change.org. We understand the fact that there are some communities, there are some concerns that won't get up to 5,000 signatures that change.org is requesting for, right? There are a lot of voices that people have raised that it doesn't get up to 5,000 signatures. So are we now saying that if this, or let's say for example now, the community don't have access to clean water, or they don't have access to proper sanitation, and someone raised a petition on change.org, and unfortunately, this uh, petition does not get up to 5,000 signatures that will prompt change.org themselves to take action to reach out to policymakers and other arms of government. Are we now saying that this community will just be left on their own? No. But for a start, we have to work with change.org. You know, this is a new platform, so we are working to work with other partners. We're looking forward to have solid partnership with policymakers, with government, parastatals, with organizations like WaterAid and Global Citizen. You know, when we come together as an arm, like, okay, we are this CSO, we are working towards wash issues in Nigeria. If someone raised a petition that we have our own petition system, not that we want to integrate with change.org this time around, that we have our own petition system. You know, even if it doesn't get any signature, we understand that any petition that was raised through our platform, through the Data for Wash platform, needs an urgent attention, right? So we are going to treat every petition equally. You understand? That is why we need partners. We need partners that we can actually work together to reach out to policymakers, people that can create changes, you understand, to bring about something great for communities that were being that their voice are being brought on the platform. Do you understand now, Mr. Manuel?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
pretty
if I may
clear.
just
Thank you
jump
very
in
much.
very quick. Okay, great. If I may just jump in very quickly. One thing we also hope to do is that for every WASH-related petition that we track, we can share it on our platform, considering the fact that social media platforms, it's more like a community of people that are interested in wash areas, wash facility, and wash needs. So for every information or every data that we can track, from our end, we'll be very glad to also amplify such links so that more people can, sign into it, so that more duty bearers can also be aware of these things. Yes, Rob, you can take it over.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that comment, and thank you for your contribution, Jamal. If there are any other questions or comments or concerns, we're willing to accept. Otherwise, we can adjourn our little program. I think we've run a little over, but there is thanks, partners. So we want to thank Talia and Emmanuel and Jamal and Say for taking part in this little webinar, and anybody else who joined us. We hope to continue this. We hope to get some support, and we hope to get more collaboration going. We hope develop a budget to try to get some data collected and some locations recognized that need some clean water, safe water to help the people in those remote areas and villages. Keep the children safe and healthy. Keep the families together. Find some jobs. Any other comments?
None from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Okay, have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.
Yeah.